Hey there, welcome back to Growing More Family Homestead. I'm Michael.
And I'm Crystal, and today we're going to show you our garden and give you a little tour.
All right, so we have about 0.8 of an acre of a garden space. This was actually an area that was farmed by a local farmer before we moved on to this property. So over the past year or so, we've just kept it up as our garden just because we had a place tilled. But right here, we've changed things up a little bit this year, just trying some different things, but it hasn't worked out great. I think we'll redo some things next year. But right here on this first row, as we come up to our garden, you see we do have our cucumbers here. Now these are actually national pickling cucumbers.
Yep.
And we really like these things. They don't get really big, but these are kind of like the traditional old school cucumbers here, and they make really good pickles. They stay crisp and firm, and we really like those. You see we have a lot of blooms on these things. So it is the first week of June, and so it's starting to get really warm here. So these cucumbers are going to start suffering as the heat comes on. Here in Northwest Florida, it gets really warm. So yeah, very excited about these because we do love making homemade pickles. So we put this here on the cattle panel. We just got it up between a few T-posts. We just connected up with zip ties here, and that works out really well. But yeah, you can see all the blooms there. They're absolutely loaded with blooms. Actually a lot of little pickles coming along too.
Yeah, I think we have several to pick today.
Yeah, it looks like there's a few in there. Hopefully we'll have some pickles. Yeah, here's a good one down right here too. Yep, quite a few coming along, some ready to go. We do like the pickles. And then on the back side of the cucumbers, we planted some green beans. Now, we've had some trouble this year. We had a major flood that happened during a big rainstorm, and it kind of caused some problems. And then we had a big drought. So that has just been an issue for us this year with the weather. So we do have some green beans. We've kind of had just enough to make a few meals, which is okay. Last year we had a whole lot more.
Way too many.
Yeah, it was too many. But this year, they are coming along. A few pickings already, but they are still blooming really well. Yep, there's one right there that's probably ready.
We have enough to have them about once a week, which is working out pretty good.
Yeah, but probably could use a little bit more just so we can have some to put up. Maybe we'll try to plant some in the fall. I don't know. The fall crops are iffy here, but in Florida we do have a big growing season, so we do have the opportunity to plant some other crops. And these are
October beans.
I hadn't been too crazy about these, but you like them, right?
Yeah, they're pretty good. And they're known by other names. I think Supremo bean is actually the variety that we got.
So we spaced these rows out thinking we could cultivate this with the tractor, but we put the potatoes and onions on the other end, and then we have the chicken coop right here behind us. So I wasn't really able to do that, so it's kind of wasted space. Like I said, we made some changes here and it didn't quite work out. Ended up with some big gaps in the garden, but we'll do something different next year, I think.
It feels like we try something new every year and then we learn something new every year.
That's part of growing more,
yeah.
Right? Part of growing more. So here we have a lot of different peppers. You know which ones are planted, right?
Right. The first few down here are called Mad Hatter peppers. We've never grown those before. We actually saw them, one of our favorite YouTubers grows them, and so we wanted to give them a try. But they make these kind of funny shaped peppers. That's where they get their name from. So that's the first one. We haven't even tried them yet.
So are they hot or sweet, or?
They're supposed to be similar to a bell pepper.
Okay. Oh, there's another one. A lot of blooms on them. They're looking a little light green, so we probably need to put a little bit of fertilizer on those.
They are loaded down with blooms, aren't they?
I know. And then next here we have
some mystery ones that haven't formed any peppers yet, but most of these I think are jalapenos.
okay, this plant's looking like it's something's going on with that one there. It's actually starting to lose leaves.
Yeah, that doesn't look too good.
No, it doesn't.
Hopefully that's not your pepperoncini that you've been hoping for.
I hope not. We have a lot of jalapenos. Look at this.
Yeah, I've let them go because I'm not sure how big they're going to get, so I was waiting to see until they change color so I know they're full size, but they're big.
Yeah, they're doing good.
I'd be fine with that size.
So in Florida, we are in a constant battle with weeds. This is a problem we have to deal with, is our weed control. It seems like they grow overnight, so that is just something we've been struggling with. Hopefully over time, if we can maybe get some animals and things like that, we might have some compost and straw to put down. But even then, the weeds will grow right through it. So weeds are a big problem.
They grow as you're weeding.
Yeah, they seems like it, doesn't it?
Down there we have some poblanos.
Right here?
There and the one, well, these two.
Oh yeah,
there's 3 of them.
A little flatter than the jalapenos.
If you look at that one down there on the first. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's coming along.
And then this one has a really big one at the bottom.
Yep, so those are not far from being able to be picked. And then we got some Tabascos down there. We like making some pepper sauce with those. They're little tiny plants though.
They start producing from itty bitty things too.
Look at these things. I mean, they are absolutely loaded. And a lot more blooms. Look at all these blooms fixing to come on.
Yeah.
Wow. So then we have our mess of tomatoes here. We kind of got behind the 8 ball here on getting these trellised up, and then the trellis hadn't held up very well. Like I said, we had some weather issues. And the problem too is our soil here, it's got a lot of clay in it. So if it rains, we end up with a kind of a sticky mess.
So we have 2 different kinds of tomatoes growing. We have traditional beefsteak tomatoes, and then we have the Amish paste tomatoes. So beefsteak, of course, we've grown those in the past. They're pretty good. And we don't always have a great result with tomatoes.
Yeah, they're iffy. That's something we're still learning how to grow. What are those longer over there? What is that?
Yeah, these are the Amish paste tomatoes.
And it looks like we have some bugs growing on them.
Yeah, there's quite a bit of bugs in there.
Yep.
We tried growing these last year and they did great until we got just kind of an early freeze. And so we got a few of the Amish paste, but not enough to actually try to make sauce or anything. So maybe this spring we'll give it a whirl.
Yeah, we've got a lot of bugs on them right now. We try not to spray we try to spray as little as we have to. Our biggest nemesis is the worms in the sweet corn. Down here, they are very difficult to deal with, but yeah, it's looking like we've got some pests here. We may have to do something about that here pretty soon. What is this one here?
We just ran out of posts, so it's out of the post.
No, I mean, what kind of tomato plant?
I have no idea.
Oh, yeah,
it's a surprise.
So Crystal planted a lot of seeds this year, started a lot of seeds, and it seems like some of them may have got mixed up a little bit. So we have some mystery plants.
We do. It's fun.
Yeah.
We have another pepper here. I don't know what this one is. Oh, another Mad Hatter. We have plenty of those going.
Well, if they taste like bell pepper, then that'll be pretty good.
Yeah, because I think we only have one bell pepper that I found. And then these we think are ghost peppers or Carolina Reapers.
Oh boy.
But we're not sure about that, and we'll see if anybody even wants to eat those because they're supposed to be really, really hot.
And then we have cherry tomatoes here. Is that right?
Yeah, and they've gotten really big, but we haven't gotten any tomatoes off of them yet.
No.
There's some babies, but man, as you walk around, you can see all the weeds, even though we've been weeding and weeding and weeding.
Yeah, it pops up overnight. So over here we have zucchini, a whole row of zucchini, which is way too much. And then we have a whole row of yellow crookneck squash, or is that straight neck?
I think it's straight neck.
But plenty of blooms. plants are suffering already with the heat. These won't go too long. We have kind of a short window to grow to squash down here in Florida, and actually we didn't get these started as early as we would have liked. So we had some germination issues, so we kind of had to replant some of them. But yeah, they're not going to last too long in the summer heat.
This spring got away from us.
Yeah, and we also took a vacation kind of during the middle of planting, and so we got behind.
Those extra seeds I planted never even came up.
I know, that's what I'm saying. Matter of fact, here's one right here on the ground.
Oh.
It never come up.
Huh. Well, that's weird.
I know. So if we look over here just past the squash and zucchini, you see we have our onions, and we have red onions and yellow onions further down that way, and they're doing okay. They did not do great this year. I think the drought really hurt them, but as you can tell, if you look down the row here, the weeds just once they get going, there's not much you can do about it, because the problem is you get in here and try to weed, and then you end up messing up the onion roots and everything. So unfortunately these have gotten out of hand. Like here's some onions down here, and we've tried to weed around them, but it's just difficult, and unfortunately the weeds start choking out the onions, so we're probably going to have to pull those up pretty soon. Behind me, this tilled area is where we had our potatoes. We planted white and red. We do have some videos on that. Definitely go back and watch those on how we planted and harvested those potatoes. We got pretty good yield this year, so we were pleased with it. Hopefully we'll do better next year.
And we'll be planting pumpkins here within a week.
Yeah, I think we're going to reuse this patch here to plant our pumpkins. So one of the things that we actually are pretty successful at growing, and I think it's because we're in the South, is field peas. These are pink eye purple holes, and they look fantastic. I didn't cultivate down here. So the other day is I took the tractor out and did our final cultivation down these rows, just trying to knock down some more weeds before they got too big. But I couldn't get down this row because these were already too big. But they are absolutely loaded with blooms. So we'll have peas pretty soon.
Yeah, because of that drought, we had this row come up first because we watered it, and the rest were a little bit behind.
That's right, yeah, the sprinkler was able to get to these here on this first row. Matter of fact, a lot of these rows did not even come up. What was it, like a couple weeks after these first two rows. So they've caught up, and they've got blooms too, so I think we're gonna be all right with the peas. So we have 8 rows of peas, which is that more than we had last year?
I think so.
Yeah, so we're going to have a lot of peas this year. But you know, we like to share our harvest with people. So that's kind of the...
And we found they freeze pretty well too.
They do. Oh, look at the peas already on this.
Yeah, that one bloomed much earlier than the rest for some reason.
Yeah. So it's already got peas on it.
It has a bunch.
Yeah.
We can have a really small bowl of peas next week.
But as you can see here, these weeds, they pop up in the ground. You know, the cultivator gets some of them out, but it doesn't get them all. But it does look a lot better than it did. A lot of peas. And this row here, we've probably made a mistake, but we planted an entire row of okra, and this is a jambalaya okra. I believe this we got from Haas Tools. We've been planting this now for a few years, and I really like it. The okra plants do not get as tall as some of the others, but they make a ton of okra, and it just works out really well for us. So they're starting to grow pretty good. We did put some fertilizer out, a couple weeks ago, I think?
Yeah, I think
maybe
last weekend.
Was it that soon ago?
Yeah.
Okay. So they're starting to green up really nicely and fill out, so they're taking off.
and I can see them forming some flowers, so we'll be picking okra pretty soon.
Yeah. Of course, then we always like to plant some sunflowers in the garden. I mean, they look neat, and then it gives some food for the birds. Brings the pollinators in.
That one has a bunch of bugs on it too.
Yeah, we're dealing with some bugs here. I'm probably going to have to do some spraying. But they look great. The sunflowers look great. And over here on this side of the garden, it's a little bit shaded over here, but we did plant another trellis of cucumbers. These were planted maybe 3 weeks or so after the last ones, just to kind of have a second group of cucumbers. And since these are in the shade from the pecan trees up here, hopefully they'll last longer in the heat. So when those other ones die, maybe these ones will stay going. And again, we just put these T-posts in and a hog panel, and it works out really well.
And I see some blooms, so we'll have cucumbers over here soon too.
Yep, and these are the same thing. They're the pickling cucumbers. They're pretty good to eat fresh, but they make some really good pickles. National pickling cucumber, I believe is what it is.
That's right.
Yeah. And I think that's an heirloom variety too, so we save our seeds. Usually let 1 or 2 go and then save our seeds and just replant them. So we don't have much else down here. We've got to go down a little bit further the way we made these rows, and we'll get to the sweet corn. This is our sweet corn patch here. We planted a few rows, as you can see, but the corn has been beaten up really bad this year. We had a couple storms come through while we had ears on the corn, and it really beat it up, and so it's all laid over. Fortunately, we've gotten quite a few bushels off of it already, and we still have these last 2 rows to pick. So we're going to probably do that today and try to get this corn put up. But it's been really good. It's really sweet corn. I think this is a Silver King corn. We may try a different variety next time, but like I was talking about earlier, in Florida, we've got a lot of time to grow crops, so we can actually do another crop of corn before the winter is over, or before the summer is over. And then over here, we're getting back to the weed problem. We planted a couple rows of watermelons. Do you know what variety they are?
Pretty sure it's Crimson Sweet.
Crimson Sweet. A lot of weeds. We don't know just yet how to grow watermelons and keep the weeds out. That is something we have struggled with for, well, ever since we've tried to grow watermelons. But they are blooming. Of course, they run out everywhere, so you can't really get in here with a tractor or anything, or any type of cultivator. But they are blooming, and there's a little tiny baby right there. You see how small it is?
Yeah, show them that bigger baby over there.
Yeah, there's another one down here that's growing. About the size of a baseball right now. So that's got a long ways to go. Oh, there's another one over there, down that side.
Oh yeah.
So they're coming along. Usually we try to have watermelons ready by the 4th of July down here in Florida, but I don't know if these are going to make it. They might.
By the calendar, they should make it, but we had the drought and everything that set things back.
Yeah, the drought that we had really set things back. And of course, with a garden this big, it's hard to keep everything watered. with a water hose. And then next to these 2 rows of watermelons, we have our sweet potatoes. And we have never grown sweet potatoes in a garden like this. We had some in a bed one time, and they didn't do great because they run so much. There's so much vine. But these are actually looking pretty good, don't you think?
They've grown a lot since even a few days ago.
Yeah. We did put some fertilizer beside them. We've got a few pieces of corn that's popped up here in the row, but that's okay. They're looking good. They're actually growing really fast.
And the weeds aren't even that terrible over here.
No, we've got a few, like right here. You know, you got some of this growing up in here. We're probably just gonna have to come in here and pull that out the best we can. But yeah, these are actually, I hadn't seen these in a couple days, so they're looking pretty good. As a matter of fact, I ran the cultivator down beside these not too long ago, and they didn't have these runners.
Oh.
So yeah, they're growing really fast.
They're picking up speed.
And then we got another gap here beside it. I actually ran the cultivator down there the other day when I was cultivating those peas. But this over here, we have a section of field corn. I think this is Trucker's favorite.
Yes.
It's a dent corn, I believe. And we just grow this mainly to have some corn to feed deer in the fall. We may, if we can keep the bugs out of it, try to grind some of it, maybe for some cornmeal or something like that. But as you can see, I mean, look at the weeds just growing down the rows.
And we weeded this last weekend.
Yeah, it was weeded last weekend. So, I mean, it just so fast. And we've got these things, I think they're called potato vines. These things right here, they will just absolutely go crazy. They'll grow up the stalks, choke it out. So that is something we have to fight. But we're probably gonna have to weed this here pretty soon again. So this end down here is actually in the shade. We've got these pecan trees up here behind us. But as we get further out here, these are starting to get a little bit taller. Looks a lot better. So this field corn actually grows, it's just more robust than those sweet corn plants, which I think is what they are. You know, the sweet corn, they're really focused on growing the ear and everything, but the field corn, you know, it grows up, you could chop it for silage or whatever. So we got some bugs in this one over here. Oh, actually we got some bugs in this one too.
Already?
Yep, so I'm gonna go ahead and have to spray these. You see this right here?
Oh, I see the damage, yeah.
Yep, it is chewed up by worms. So I need to spray that. See the stuff in here?
And we didn't really have that problem with the sweet corn. Is it just the time of year probably?
Probably so. This one's got it right here. So some of them starting to get some worm damage, so I'll go ahead and spray them. We're trying to use organic sprays best we can. I've been using something called BT and then spinosad. I think they're natural bacterias. Part of our goals is to not spray as much bad chemicals. You know, we're trying to make sure our food is good and better than the store-bought stuff. And then down at the other end here, so as I was talking about earlier, our garden is about 0.8 acres or so. And so this down at the far end, we actually had planted in field corn last year, and that was a disaster because we had so much corn to deal with. But we decided not to do that this year, and so we've actually planted some millet, brown top millet. And we just took a broadcast spreader, pulled it behind our mower, just went through, broadcast it out, and then I took our tiller and just very lightly tilled it in, just kind of mix it into the soil. And so we had a pretty decent stand. We've got some thick spots here on the ends and some thinner spots. But we're just basically planting this for a ground cover just to keep something on the dirt over the summer. I don't know if we'll do anything with this really ever again. It's such a big area. I'm not sure that we'll ever plant anything down here, but we kind of have it. You know, we've talked about some animals or something at some point, and maybe we turn that into an area that they can eat. But you know, the brown top millet to come along later this fall, and you know, the dove and things like that like eating it, so it'll provide some forage for some wild animals and some ground cover for us, help keep the weeds down.
You can tell the spots where the sprinkler hit during the drought because they're nice and lush and taller than the rest.
So the most successful thing we've grown this year, we didn't even plant. This is a volunteer sunflower, and you can see it is, you know, what, 8 foot tall up there. I mean, this trunk on this thing is, I mean, it's like a tree. It's like a tree. I mean, look how big these leaves are to my hand. And look at this. I mean, this stalk is absolutely massive. But this is actually our compost pile. You want to bring the camera over here and let's show you. So this back here, you see we do have like, well, that's chicken manure. So we've been just dumping that in here, trying to let it have time to break down. But as you can see, the weeds like it. We've got a volunteer tomato right here. I think there's another tomato one back there. It's actually got tomatoes on it. Yeah, it looks like a watermelon growing back there, maybe.
There's no telling what's in there.
So I want to use this, but we also want to let those things grow, see what happens. But of course the weeds like it. We had a pile of dirt over here, and the weeds were so bad on it, I actually just took a torch and burned those, trying to get those to die. I didn't want to spray it with Roundup or something, because we want to be able to use this dirt in our yard and different places. So yeah, I just took a torch and burned those weeds to try and get that to die. So I need to take the tractor bucket and kind of flip and rotate that. We need to be doing that with this, but we're going to kill this if I do that. So we'll probably let this sunflower grow up and see what happens, see how big it gets. And then, you know, eventually we'll be able to use this compost here. But that's something we're trying to do, is, you know, get away from the synthetic fertilizers. I mean, we've had to use it on our garden because that's all we have right now. Usually I get 13 or 10, something like that, and put out. We try to use it as sparingly as we have to, but things like corn, you know, it really is a heavy feeder, so you got to have some kind of nutrients for it. But I'm hoping at some point we can just be completely sustainable on fertilizer, and then that way we're not having to, one, buy the fertilizer, and two, we're using something a lot more natural. I think that would just it's kind of part of our goal, was, you know, be more self-sustaining. That's part of homesteading. You know, our chickens are making eggs for us. They make this nutrient-rich compost. The problem with chicken manure is you got to let it kind of have time to age. So
that chicken manure grows some really good sunflowers, though.
Well, it does. I mean, it's obviously you don't have to let it age too much, because that's doing really well. But you know, we don't want to put it out on our garden and then burn our plants. You know, at some point, if we end up with some cows or something like that, or rabbits, you know, maybe we can have something that we can use a little quicker. But the chicken manure is pretty hot, and so you got to have some time and a place for it to just make compost. So, stink bugs on me.
Oh.
Well, all right, that's the end of our garden tour video. That's our 2025 spring and summer garden. And so just wanted to share what we have growing here on our homestead. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure and click that thumbs up button, like the video. And if you're not yet subscribed, go ahead and do that today. We'd very much appreciate it. We thank y'all for watching, and we'll see you back here next time. God bless.